the government will not and must never interfere.
With respect, a mandate letter does not have the same force as a statute of Canada.
No, and I understand that, but I just wanted to share with you because I think it's clear that our government declared that principle right up front and made it public.
To my question, sir.
And to your question, there's a number of legislative remedies that I think might be worthy of consideration of perhaps this committee or Parliament. And if you bring forward such recommendations, I would certainly look at them with a very open mind, because I think it is incumbent upon us to make sure that the law is clear and that important principles like the independence of the police are clearly recognized in law. It's a principle that I certainly recommend and recognize. But if you were to bring forward that, it's certainly something that I would look at with an open mind.
Thank you, Mr. McGregor. Thank you, Minister. So we're really short of time, but we're going to try and shoehorn a couple of quick slots. 3 minutes for each party. For the Liberals, 3 minutes for the Conservatives. Other way. Mr. Lloyd, please go ahead.
Minister, would it upset you if you found out that your political staff went behind your back and sought to ask the Commissioner to release information?
Are you asking me to speculate on something that there's no evidence of?
Would you be upset if a hypothetical situation happened? If a hypothetical, I'm not asking you to speculate if it happened, I'm asking you if it hypothetically happened, would you be upset about that?
And with great respect, Mr. Lloyd, I'm not going to speculate on a hypothetical. I think that would just be silly.
Okay, so you're refusing to say whether you would be upset if your staff went behind your back to politically interfere in an investigation.
And again, you're mischaracterizing what I just said to you. I said I'm not going to speculate on your hypotheticals. I think it would be a disservice to this committee.
On April 23rd, Zita Astrovist, your Chief of Staff, as well as the Deputy Minister at the time, Rob Stewart, received information about the types of firearms that were recovered from the Nova Scotia crime scene. Your office reached out to the RCMP Commissioner to ask about what guns were used in the crime scene. Would you agree that that's completely appropriate of your staff to ask that kind of question?
That's part of a briefing.
Okay, that's part of the briefing. Rob Stewart then immediately emailed this list to his Director General for Policy, Randall Coops, asking him, quote, "Are any of these on the to-be-banned list?" Now, this was just days before the May 1st OIC announcements on the firearms being banned. So your Deputy Minister was already linking what happened in Nova Scotia to the soon-to-be May 1st announcement on firearms. Given that evidence, do you agree that your office was in communications with the RCMP about the firearms used in the Nova Scotia mass shooting, so that this information could then be used at the May 1st announcement?
Yeah, to be really clear, first of all, the Deputy Minister is in the public service and doesn't...
And your Chief of Staff.
No, just let me finish, if I may. He was doing his job, and that's his job, to speak to his own officials about this. I recall being advised that we had been provided with that information and that the RCMP had indicated that it was not to be released because of the ongoing investigation. And at all times subsequent to that, until the information was released several months later as a result of an ATIP request, we respected the position of the RCMP. And although we knew that information, we never released it because the RCMP said it shouldn't be and it would compromise their investigation. And we agreed and said it's entirely up to the RCMP to make that decision, not us.
You make that assertion, Minister. If that assertion is true, that the RCMP said this would compromise an investigation, why then would the RCMP Commissioner, why then would it have been her idea to release this information?
A question you may wish to put to the RCMP Commissioner.
Did it not strike you as odd that you knew that your staff had received an email saying this information is not to be released publicly, and then the RCMP Commissioner goes to your staff and says, we're planning on releasing this information publicly?
That's a decision solely the purview of the RCMP. The Commissioner, who is the head of that organization, if she makes it a decision with respect to her organization, that's her job and not something that we would ever interfere with.
Thank you.
And didn't.
Thank you. We'll go now to Mr. Chang, please. 3 minutes. Have we got Mr. Chang? Here we go.